Hi, it's December the 29th, 2021, and it's always around this time of year, of course, that everybody starts to look back on the year that was and starts to have a think about the year that's coming. Now, if we've learned anything in 2021, it's that you can't really predict what a year's going to be like. I'm pretty sure everybody had higher hopes for this last 12 months than probably played out. I think everyone was hoping the pandemic might be a little bit more in the rearview mirror than it seems to be at the minute, but that's the unpredictability of time and things that are happening, isn't it? So let's get stuck into some of the things that stuck out for me in 2021. So obviously the biggest event for me this year was the Grand Tour I did in June and July, where I rode 2,100 kilometers in 21 days, mimicking the Tour de France, raising £18,000 for a local breast cancer charity. That was an amazing event. Obviously there are so many great things that happened during that thing, from organising it to worrying about whether I was going to do it, or all the people that came and rode with me and supported me and sent me amazing messages. Some people trained to come and ride one event, some people rode multiple days with me. It was just fantastic, and I think some of those things, without wishing to diminish them, are probably quite obvious. But there are some things that stand out about those 3 weeks that maybe I haven't mentioned on the channel particularly. Maybe because the time hasn't seemed right, or maybe because it's only in hindsight that they've really stood out to me. So the first thing is that the local businesses stepped up where the big businesses didn't. The ones that could probably afford it more so didn't really help out as much as I expected them to. But my friends who have smaller businesses couldn't have helped more. From £100 to multiple thousands of pounds, they really stepped up, and that gave me great heart in terms of the support and the belief behind it, and that meant the whole world to me. Something else that meant the whole world to me was my friend David Smith, who came out on multiple days. I did mention this in the videos, but I did want to reference it in this video because when I think back to it, one of the most common factors of those 3 weeks was David Smith coming out, sitting at the side of the road in his white BMW, living up to his initials of DS and being the director sportif, bringing food, water, topping up our drinks, but more importantly, giving us a bit of a morale boost on probably some of the harder days. And I can't genuinely thank David enough for that help. So that's another thing that sticks out to me. There's two more things really. One is the support of Mark Threlfall. They're next to a link actually. Mark Threlfall from Global Triathlon Network got in touch with me and said he had some prizes for me, but also invited me out on a bike ride. And during that bike ride, he sort of expressed to me, I was having doubts, I guess, whether what I was doing was in any way significant. Financially for the charity, it probably would be significant. My aim to raise £5,000 would have helped them anyway. But I wondered whether riding 100 kilometers a day for 21 days was actually anything really. You know, they started playing tricks in my mind. Is this a thing, or is it just people are just going to look at it and go, well, you know, there's nothing very impressive about doing that. Maybe I'd fabricated in my head that it was going to be a massive challenge. And Mark, in no uncertain terms, expressed that he thought it probably was going to be a bit of a challenge.
Just how inspired I am by, you know, obviously I've done some amazing challenges and stuff, but what you're doing is so inspiring, mate. Like that's why I messaged you, because it's like,
that's really kind of you.
It made me stop in my tracks, and I was like,
this guy's
fair
an idiot.
Play. That is really cool.
Thanks. I hope I do it justice now. That kind of feels like it's taken on a life of its own that's beyond just me. You look at something like it and you go, well look, 60 miles a day, it's not really that far, like 100k. And you kind of go, maybe it isn't all that. And then you go and run half marathon every day for a week. And then Hank goes and does 100k a week. and you can, okay, he's doing it around a full-time job. And he's in ribbons. And then you kind of go, oh my God. And then you get a message like from you and you kind of go, well, maybe what I'm doing is insane. But then you read Mark Beaumont's book or you watch it and you go, hang on a minute. Like this sits like in a sweet spot of like, I think anyone could do it, but it's still mental.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is mental what you're doing.
Well, thanks for that. Well, says the man who ran a half marathon every day for a week.
And having the support of somebody who was a professional triathlete, is a fantastic broadcaster, if you want to call it that, or content creator or whatever, and just spending that time with Mark meant the whole world to me. It was a huge morale boost, as was an email I had from GCN Plus, who dropped me an email at the very beginning of last year when they discovered my channel and looked at what I was planning to do. And I haven't talked about this on the channel before, but they sent me an email saying that they were thinking of adding me as one of the documentaries on GCN Plus. Now, they didn't do that for whatever reason, but that to some extent is completely insignificant. It cemented, as did Mark's sort of contact, that there was something significant in what I was doing, and I genuinely, I think it's the old imposter syndrome thing, isn't it, where you know, you don't think that what you're doing is valid. To have that contact from GCN Plus and say that we're even considering making a documentary about what you're doing, and also for Mark Threlfall to be in contact, they were huge boosts at the start of the year when I was in fact actually struggling. And they both came in around the same time when it was a bit make or break for me. End of February, beginning of March, I was really in a position where I wasn't sure if my training was up to it, my motivation had gone for training, and I was seriously concerned about the whole project. And those two bits of, I guess, qualification meant a great deal to me to have that from those different corners. Connected to the last thing is me getting my new bike. Now again, those of you that watch this channel regularly will know that my passion from a very early age, from about the age of 9, has been bike racing. And whilst I've been a keen time trialer, and my first new bike ever was a time trial bike that I bought about a decade ago, all of my road bikes have always been secondhand or lent to me. And this year I got a bike that was my absolute, or is my absolute pride and joy. Getting a bike like this to do the challenge that I'd set myself was a huge boost. I know material goods shouldn't have that effect on us, but they did. It was more significant than it being just a material thing. It was something that I've always dreamt about, riding a bike of this quality. And yeah, I can understand now why people become attached to things like this. It is in pride of place in my office in here, up on the wall, but it also gets ridden a lot, and that was another thing that really sticks out in my mind. The bike was very significant to us because it was something that Bex and I agreed on buying as a way of thinking about this year being a bit of a new start really for all of us. And so I got to ride that bike at Exmouth Triathlon. It's the first triathlon I'd done in a couple of years. I was not in a fit state. I didn't know if I was going to finish the run because I'm way out of shape and way overweight at the minute. But it was really lovely to be part of a triathlon again and get to ride amazing roads in Exmouth on my awesome bike, swim in the sea, which was a tough challenge after about 3 swims, I think, earlier in the year. But doing a triathlon was great. It reminded me of all the reasons why I love triathlon: the camaraderie, the individual kind of focus that it takes to get through an event like that. Whether you're the first person across the line or the last person across the line, it's a challenge for everybody involved. And it was just great to be back in the triathlon scene again. And so some domestic stuff. Well, this year wasn't quite the year that we expected it to be. I think we all, me, Bex, the boys, but particularly me and Bex, thought this was going to be much more of a year of progression, that we'd be moving forward a lot more than we had. I think we underestimated hugely the amount of recovery Bex was going to take from her chemo that she had last year. It is a massive undertaking for both the mind and the body to come through something as, well, vile as that really. And I think it took Bex a lot more time physically to recover. Whether she completely is now or not, we're still not 100% sure. But there was a lot of stuff going on that I think perhaps we haven't banked on. I think we thought, right, 2021 is going to be all guns blazing, we're going to make this huge amount of progress. And in actual fact, it was more of a recovery year, I think, for her mentally and physically, for me mentally and physically as well, I think. I think I saw the Grand Tour as being this kind of finish line where I could draw a line under the last year and a half, and it really wasn't that. It feels a little bit more like a start line of moving forwards, really. And I'm hoping that 2022 much more feels like a year of progression. And of course, we're in a lovely new house, lots of DIY to do, but I've got this great space to work in and to film in and to train in next door, and to sort of put those things that I've always wanted for 20 odd years into place. And it does feel like a much more positive year. We're making good progress on the house. Obviously, we've got the new dog, Pogo. I haven't shown her a huge amount on the channel, but she's great fun and great company for Otis. And actually all starting to feel like everything's stacking up a little bit more. All I've got to do is just a little bit more work on my head, and the rest will follow, I think. And so 21 has been a weird year. It's been full of positives, and maybe not as many positives as we'd thought there might be. I think that's the key takeaway from this year, is that I think maybe we had too high hopes for 2021, and maybe that's a lesson to learn. Maybe it's a lot more of an expectation of what might happen. I think one of the key things I've learned towards the back end of this year, certainly towards the last couple of months, is that I've noticed myself just feeling happier in the moment. All my life I've always been thinking, if I do this, or if I achieve this, or when I get to this weight, or if I buy this, or when this happens, I will be happy, or I'll feel like I've made it. And I think in the last sort of 2-3 months, there's definitely been a feeling that I'm just enjoying sort of moments like now. The fact that I can sit here and film and talk to you all, the 150 of you that watch these videos. Not many of you will have got to this point, it's quite long in, but to have that communication and to feel like I'm making something creative and that I'm able to actually express myself every week and put down in a form of kind of video diary or whatever they call them, you know, a journal, electronic digital journal or whatever. I'm very grateful for that, I really am. And I think this year's taught me, somehow it's taught me to just be a little bit more in the moment and enjoy the moment, and stop thinking about happiness as something that happens in the future. You know, it's something that if you look for it, most moments have a level of joy you can acknowledge or identify, and that's definitely something I'd like to continue to explore next year. If that's the only thing that I manage next year, I'll be happy, but I have grand plans. I'm looking forward to doing Bristol Triathlon standard distance, which I'm booked on. I'm looking forward to doing London to Paris with my brother, which is going to be incredibly exciting. I'm looking forward also to doing the 4x100 kilometre or 400 kilometre day. I think Stefan is going to come and join me on that. So there's a lot of things to look forward to, but they're all in the future. The key is to look for the joy in the now, and I'm somehow, right now, at the moment, managing to achieve that. I hope you've had a great Christmas, and I hope that 2022 brings you all everything that you want, but don't forget to look for the things that are happening now, because that's my biggest takeaway from this year. Thanks for watching the channel. Those of you that watch it every week or every time I upload a video, I've got great ideas for next year. I'm in the process of putting together 12 videos that will go out weekly about mindset. I'm just looking for my tame scientist to help me back up some credentials here and there, and yeah, have a great new year, and I will see you very early on in 2022. Cheers. So today is December the 29th, 2021, and it's always around this time of year that everybody obviously starts to think about the year that's gone and the year that's coming. And I don't think any of us could have quite... I've got the fucking mic on. I bet I haven't got the mic on. Right, I'm glad I checked that.